Hello, welcome back to KXAN Live. I'm your anchor Esmeralda Zamora, and today we're going to be talking weather with KXAN meteorologist Nick Bannin and Nick's first warning weather. Nick, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Esme, good to be here on a Tuesday. I don't know about you, but I kind of like these cold mornings.
I do not.
No?
It's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to walk to the car.
There's that, but when you think about what we can have in the summer, prolonged triple-digit heat, which is, part of the story here in Central Texas, right? It is nice to have to be able to see your breath in the morning and bundle up and get those sweatpants and heavier coats on, at least for a little bit of a change, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to pull those coats out and finally wear them, right?
Yeah, do you have a lot of your winter gear in the closet that you've been pulling out this week?
Yes, I've been pulling them out of storage boxes.
Okay, so dusting them off a little bit, I see.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I want to sort of update people on the progress and our changing expectations on this wintry mix that is still on track to impact much of Texas later on this week, but the impacts here locally are seeming to be less and less. The storm itself is coming from this digging area, this trough out west, that's actually causing a huge Santa Ana wind event for Southern California with a exceptionally high fire danger there as those offshore winds blow from the mountains out to the sea. But the same storm system is going to help pull in moisture that will eventually bring us the chance for a wintry mix, but more likely, for most of us anyway, a cold rain. Of course, rain is a good thing, and rain is what we need. So the forecast has been trending better in many ways, except for those of you who want snow. Esme, are you a snow lover? I know you've been skiing earlier over the last few months. Would you have preferred we talk about snow instead of rain?
I wish there would be snow here. I haven't seen snow in Texas since 2004 in the valley where I saw snow, but I did see snow this winter break, like you mentioned. I went tubing and skiing and snowboarding. It was so much fun. I wish we had it here.
Oh, well, sorry to disappoint, but this one is looking less and less snowy here in Central Texas, if it ever looked snowy at all. But you may get lucky and see a few flakes flying at the worst here. Here's how your Thursday is looking. Just a cold rain. You see where the pink colors are, though? The pink indicates a wintry freezing mix of sleet or freezing rain. And then as you get into the blue, that's where the snow is. So for us, a lot of rain. And I'll show you a closer look here in a second. But the general idea is that moisture just keeps pushing through Central Texas, making for a soggy Thursday. It may not be doing much when you wake up Thursday morning, although the chances for some widely scattered wintry mix and rain showers exist in the morning. But then as we head through the day, it just gets wetter and wetter, and a cold rain continues through the night. Should be wrapping up pretty early here on Thursday morning. So here's that more local view that I promised. Okay, here's your day tomorrow, first of all, which is fine. It starts cold. We'll be thickening up the clouds late tonight, but we'll still be down near or below freezing to begin your Wednesday morning, although not quite as cold as it was this morning in some places. But a lot of clouds, a little sun tomorrow. I'm a little more optimistic about a few breaks of sun tomorrow than what we were originally thinking a couple of days ago. Still a mostly cloudy day overall, but it's looking like a dry day here tomorrow. Rain chances, wintry precip chances during the daylight hours tomorrow are way under 10%. So tomorrow's a great travel day for those of you thinking of heading north to Arlington for the Texas game on Friday. Wednesday is your best day to travel for that one. We'll talk about why here in a few minutes. Let's get into your late Wednesday night, early Thursday. So we'll stop the clock here at 1 in the morning. And you can see here, starting to see the onset of precipitation at some type. This is looking to be sleet and spotty freezing rain in parts of the hill country, and even some rain in parts of the hill country too. So it starts very, very spotty. And then we start to see the coverage going up just a little bit as we get closer to dawn on Thursday. By this point, we're looking for scattered, mostly rain showers as we get near the metro. And then generally, we're looking at a combination of rain or freezing rain and even a bit of sleet in the hill country. So this is 7 a.m. Thursday. Still nothing widespread yet, but the farther west and north you head, the more you get into that icier mix that may affect parts of the hill country here early Thursday. Then as we head through the day, the coverage starts to expand. This is midday on Thursday, a fairly widespread rain for the metro and our eastern counties. We can't rule out, especially west of 35 in the western metro, as you start getting into some of the hills, there could still be some spotty, icy spots in those elevated bridges and overpasses. But it looks more like the hill country will be where the vast majority of any mixing will be. And even there, it'll be a combination of plain rain with the greens and the yellows and the reds and oranges versus the sleet and freezing rain mixture. So we are going to be more concerned about the icing still in the hill country, but less concerned about icing in the metro. Then as we get through the afternoon, the rain just gets heavier and heavier. There still may be some sleet and freezing rain that mixes in though, especially in the hill country, but in the metro, we're mostly just plain rain at this point, but a cold rain. Temperatures still in the 30s, even though it'll be raining pretty hard. There could even be some thunderstorms mixed in too. Thursday evening, the chances for a wintry mix start to go up just slightly in the hill country. As we lose daylight, although you're not going to see any sun Thursday, temperatures may drop just slightly, so we may see a few more areas of this pink, which is again the freezing rain or sleet mixture, but the vast majority of us still dealing with rain. And then we think soon after midnight, first few hours of Friday morning, we'll see that wintry mix and rain tapering off to rain, and then we're drying out as we head through Friday. Precipitation-wise, most areas will get precipitation of some variety on Thursday. And for most of us, it will be cold rain, but there could be that wintry mix that mixes in. So 90%, that means that you're all but guaranteed measurable precipitation of some kind. It just looks to mostly be in the form of rain. We've dropped our precipitation chance tomorrow down to 0 or close to it, and just 10% for early Friday morning. There may just be a few lingering stray showers after the bulk of the wet and wintry weather is done. I know you're looking for snow, Esme. Here's our snow map, and it's not exciting. Look at it. I mean, nothing. Maybe a spotty dusting in the areas that we're not expecting anything. I know there it says coating. Not trying to remove you there, Esme. But northern San Saba County could get a little coating of snow. But this is not much.
Nope.
And certainly not going to be enough to build any snow creatures with.
So this whole past week and into the beginning of this week, we've been talking about wintry mix, and you've been talking about this a lot. Can you kind of explain to our viewers what you mean by that frozen rain or that cold rain?
Yeah. So a cold rain is just rain that hits the ground and temperatures are chilly. Cold rain doesn't cause any problems except for puddles and possibly some minor flooding if you get enough heavy cold rain. When you start using the term freezing rain, that's when the temperature at the surface or on those elevated bridges, overpasses, that's when the temperatures of those surfaces is at 32 or below because the air temperatures are that. And that's when the rain that is liquid in the air hits those colder surfaces and freezes and creates this glaze. And that's what can cause us so many problems, especially as you're driving through the rain, you're thinking everything's fine, and then you hit a bridge where temperatures are colder because the air can go under and above. You're not benefiting from the warmer ground as much on those elevated surfaces like bridges, like overpasses. You're getting the cold on all sides. And that's where you can quickly feel, oh no, I've lost control of my car. And then you start sliding and potentially crashing. So that's what freezing rain is. Now, sleet is when the cold layer near the ground is actually pretty thick, so that the rain that falls into that layer actually freezes before it hits the ground, not when it hits the ground, which is freezing rain. So sleet, it freezes before it hits the ground, so it's hitting the ground and you're hearing it more like little pellets bouncing. So that's the sleet that can mix in with the freezing rain, just depending on how thick that frozen layer is and how thick it is above the ground. Now, snow you're basically cold from top to bottom. You're cold where you make the snow in the clouds, and then you don't really drop or don't really climb above freezing all the way down to the ground. And if you do, it's only for such a short distance that the snowflakes don't melt at all. Mm-hmm. And because we don't have that top to bottom cold is why our chances for snow are so low. Our chances for freezing rain and sleet are a bit higher, especially in the hill country. And our chances for rain are much higher than that. So the areas as far as ice accumulation go, we could still see some spotty ice accumulation on those elevated surfaces in the metro. Spotty meaning barely measurable at all, probably not going to cause much in the way of travel difficulties. But it is possible early Thursday morning, and again, for those last few hours as things are tapering off, late Thursday night, early Friday morning. But even then, spotty is, at this point, not super concerning. The hill country even, the areas that were more likely to have at least a little bit of wintry mix of freezing rain and sleet, still aren't expecting much in the way of ice accretion, 5/100ths of an inch or less. And it could be that one neighborhood gets 5/100ths, another doesn't really get much ice at all, and then you go up a little bit into some of the other hills, and then it's a little colder. And then you head northwest of that, and the potential for icing is a little bit higher there. What I'm more excited about is the rain potential here late Wednesday night, but most of this really coming Thursday, especially Thursday afternoon and night. 1/4 inch to an inch in the hill country. I think most areas closer to an inch than 1/4. But for the metro and our eastern counties, 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and we can get some localized higher amounts even more than that. So we all want rain here in central Texas, just about, although there'll be a few that don't. But we all need the rain here in central Texas. Sure, we could use the heavier amounts in the hill country, but a wetter, heavier rain, a cold rain, better for travel than the wintry weather that was looking a little more likely a day or two ago in parts of the area. So as this storm has slowed down a little bit and trended a little warmer, we've been able to lower our concerns for that iciness in the metro. Hey, beneficial rain. Wouldn't you love that, Esme?
Now, what does this mean? I know that this is happening Thursday, pretty much all day, for our fans driving up to Dallas. Is this a good day to travel?
Yeah, so let me jump to what the expectations are as far as the wintry types of weather. I've got Austin on the map toward the bottom. I've got Arlington toward the top of the map, as you can see, where Texas play on Friday. So this is Wednesday afternoon and evening, barely anything coming out of the sky. So that's why we're saying Wednesday is the best day to travel, because we know that it's generally going to be all dry. Then we get into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. This is 7 a.m. Thursday. And you can see here that I'll move the map just a hair so you can see Austin.
I can open it.
And there's 35.
There we go.
The pink, again, is the sleet and freezing rain, and the blue is the snow. So you can see that mix has already arrived in Arlington Thursday morning. So if you're thinking, oh, I can drive up Thursday.
Don't do it.
It's really not advisable that you do that here. Because even if our weather is a bit more rainy along 35 in the metro, you drive up farther north, and then you start to enter more of that wintry mix zone closer to Arlington. Then we get into Thursday at midday, still rain for us, still a mix there. And for Arlington, they'll be going back and forth between some snow and freezing rain and sleet and snow, and then a little more back and forth with potentially some regular rain mixed in as well. And then we get into Thursday evening, temperatures warm just slightly, potentially at that point over to rain, but then look, back to snow for Arlington Thursday night. So there is not a window of opportunity during the day on Thursday that we're comfortable saying that trip from Austin to Arlington up 35 is going to be just rain. And we're not comfortable enough saying it because we think that as you drive north, that wintry mix may go back and forth a bit more from rain to freezing rain, sleet, and snow. But then as we get into Friday, more and more indications suggest, even if there's some lingering stuff early Friday morning, that there will be several dry hours on Friday. So if you leave Austin Friday morning, and then head up north. Things should be improving in Arlington. We're more confident about the roads being better on Wednesday, though, than we are on Friday morning, because there could still be some lingering stuff on roads well north of our area Friday morning, even as we're not seeing any precipitation anymore. And just showing you what one of our computer models is suggesting as far as snow, they're in the 1 to 3, 3 to 6 zone there in Arlington. So they're certainly in the areas more likely to get snow, and then possibly some iciness too, although the iciness for them would be a bit more spotty as well. I just want to compare what we're looking at here to other winter storms back in our recent history in Central Texas. And hopefully this will help to put your mind at ease a little bit. So the snowstorm we had in 2021, commonly known as Snowmageddon, we were below or at freezing for 144 consecutive hours in Austin. We had 6.5 inches of snow. Our coldest lows got down to 7, our coldest high, 25 in Austin. We had that ice storm in 2023. We were at or below freezing for 66 hours. We had almost 3/4 of an inch of ice. Our coldest lows were 29, our coldest highs were 32. So the temperatures weren't as cold for that ice storm in 2023, but they were cold enough. Now let me throw in what we're looking at this week. We think as we head through Wednesday night, Thursday, into early Friday, Austin may be at or below freezing for maybe 2 hours or less.
Wow.
We're looking at potentially a trace at most of iciness in Austin. Of course, most areas in the metro won't get much ice at all, but a trace is almost like a couple spots perhaps. The hill country looking less than a 5/100th of an inch of ice. Our coldest lows, 33. So yeah, we may dip below freezing before the event begins and after it's done, but we're thinking during the day on Thursday, we'll only get down to 33 in Austin in the morning, which is certainly warm enough to stay above freezing with our coldest highs there of 39. So all that is that we are looking in much better shape here this week than what we had done in bigger winter storms past. By no stretch of the imagination, though, does this mean that once we're through this week that we're done with winter? We still have the rest of January and February to go before we can sort of say that. But it is looking more wet and less wintry this week. Still going to watch out for the potential for iciness in the hill country, though. And don't forget the cold. Remember the 4 go to bed tonight. We're still going to be back below freezing tomorrow morning.
And those 4 Ps are people, pets, plants, and pipes, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Nick. I wanted to ask you before we wrap,
Sure.
Do you remember what you were doing during that first storm you talked about, the 2021?
Yeah, so I had just started here 6 weeks before that snowstorm in February 2021 and literally just moved across the country. And they put me in our KXAN SUV. We were doing live snow and ice reporting constantly. I was getting to know the area super well at that point. But I just moved from the Northeast where we had much more in the way of wintry weather. So it was like I never left.
So I bet it was a shock to see how we were reacting to that wintry weather we had.
Yeah, right. Well, I moved here thinking, oh, okay, I'm not going to have to deal with much snow for a while. And then here we go. Just a few weeks after I got here was that 2021 storm. So we're not looking for a repeat of that by any stretch, but we don't let our guard down. There is still 24 hours for some wiggle room here, for some details to be adjusted. Keep checking back with us. We'll keep you updated.
Yeah. Well, we do have an article that you published on our website. It is titled Comparing This Week's Wintry Mix to Previous Storms. And here we have that Snowmageddon that you were talking about.
Yep.
Ice storm and this year's wintry mix, as well as some more fun facts. If anyone is interested in looking at this article, you can find that on our homepage on our website, kxan.com. Well, thanks so much for joining me, Nick. We'll be back next week with another Nick's First Warning Weather.
Yeah, and don't forget to join us at 4 and then again at 9 and 10 tonight. This is the time where we're in that window that every few hours we get some computer model updates, both on air and behind the scenes. So we're going to pay attention to every update just in case there's a little bit of a wiggle in the final expectations for the storm.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.